I am Cowboy Nick, and welcome to the Cowboynicks Yippee-ki-yay, yippee-doo, yippee-yay, ha-ha-ha, hey. I know it's a long name, but it's just something I do. How y'all doing, folks? This is Cowboy Nick, and don't forget next Friday, Cowboy Nick and Kyle and Lodi once again, and maybe you'll get to see our newest member, Attack Dog, on scene on the podcast next Friday. But last night was a great game last night, as we have some great things to tell you about last night's game with the with BYU those taking on the UOP Tigers, and it was a great game. BYU walking out with the win, but the Tigers still showing their skills and giving them a lot. BYU coming out with some. We'll talk about the top players. You will get to hear about them later on in the show. Later on in our in our podcast, so you get to hear about that later. So just enjoy. Right now you get to see some things, and we'll have some stuff where we're gonna go up and down, slide up and down, categories. So we'll go ahead and start off with first. We'll start off with a little Q&A. This is what some people were saying last night. I talked to some fans yesterday as I walked through the mall, and I walked around the campus a little bit, and some of the fans were talking about a lot of good stuff. But here's some game report. Here's some stuff that you have to hear, that you're going to hear from the Q&A. With the BYU Cougars coming into this game as the powerhouse, the BYU Cougars came into this game as the powerhouse with now a 15-5 win-loss streak. So that's what they came in with. They were just really dominating over the Tigers today, last night. And BYU also last night, some of the fans that we talked to, who's gonna win and why are they gonna win? Question one from a guy named Eli at Target, because I was over there getting some lunch. I was hungry, so of course I went to Target, because Target, you get all those great deals. But the first question the Q&A question I asked was only one: who's going to win between BYU and the Tigers, and why? And what did he tell me? BYU is going to win with more coaching skills and more discipline in their team organization. BYU is coming into this game more disciplined and more ready than UOP Tigers are going to be for tonight. The second person I asked the same question. UOP is going to win, and I want them to win. Why? Because they are the hometown team. The hometown team are heroes in this area, and heroes make make good for the fans everywhere in the area. So that's what she said. Pretty cool. And third question I asked another person was, UOP is going to win to make Stockton a better place. That's what she said. And then I talked to some of the UOP players, and I talked to them with a Q&A, and this is what they told me. Whoever controls the ball more, whoever has more control in the ball, and whoever can get the more rebounds in the game is going to be able to hold their own against the team. And the team who also listens to the scouting who reads the scouting reports of the other team is the one who's going to come out on top. And then the first period, BYU comes out and leads with 15 minutes and 35 seconds in the game. And BYU comes out with BYU leading in the first period as the game starts with a 10-8 lead against UOP. That's how the game started. The Tigers the problem with the Tigers was the Tigers kept losing the ball to BYU. BYU's defense was all about get the ball back, get those 3-pointers, get the ball back, get the 3-pointers, get the ball back, get the 3-pointers, get the ball back, get the 3-pointers, get the foul, get the ball back, get the 3-pointers. And that's what they were doing the entire night. and they just kept going. That first period, they just kept going on with that. They were winding up going 8 fouls, nine. They were going 3 fouls, 8 fouls, 9 fouls, 10 fouls, 11 fouls, 12 fouls, 6 fouls, 7 fouls, 8 fouls, 9 fouls. They were just being dominant against the Tigers. They were just all over the Tigers. The Tigers were out there trying to do what they had to do, but they just couldn't. They just couldn't stop. They just had to keep going. It was like, oh my god. When the first period ended, and they held the BYU holds the lead at 42-34 against the Tigers. It was like, wow. And then it went into halftime where we had some dancers, where we had the UOP dancers come out, and they just came out and started dancing, and the pep band and cowbell, as I call her, cowbell, came out. That was another video, but that was a song. That was a one of our songs that's gonna be in the video, so it's a good one. But yeah, cowbell just coming out and just kept going. I mean, like they were cowbelling so hard that UOP was like, if people were looking at UOP like, these dancers are sick. So right now we're gonna take a little bit of a break, and when we come back, we're gonna talk a little bit more about the second half and how the Tigers were not able to get the victory. I'm Cowboy Nick, and this video is brought to you by the podcast and by your friends at InCAD Productions, where sports are always first, and the Kyle and Lodi Sports Madness page, and by our new friend Attack Dog Tony. And we are back. So yes, we're gonna talk a little bit more about what happened last night, and as we continue to go into the second half of the game, as still holds the lead over the Tigers. UOP fights to try to take the lead, to fight to take the lead over BYU, but with the D that BYU is using, they're really holding the Tigers in a corner, and not giving the Tigers an inch. So the Tigers are like is just going crazy as the clock counts down, and with the fouls count still building on the teams. BYU is showing they're more disciplined. They were showing that they were more disciplined than the Tigers in this match, and their D is growing stronger, keeping the Tigers at a low scoring in this match. and BYU holds the bar higher and holds the bar higher and higher as the Tigers looking to find the light at the end of the tunnel. But with the D BYU is playing, the game is already over. So it's like, and the clock is still ticking, and BYU is what is leading over the Tigers, and BYU's and the way UOP is playing, it looks like BYU look like, and this is what we're saying, um, BYU taking the win in this game. But with a game with the but what a game this is. The fans of both teams are losing their voices in this in this match, screaming, screaming just like crazy. They're doing, and with the game finally and with the final and finally and in this game finally over, BYU will in the end of this game walk away with the win as BYU walks away 93-80 against the Pacific Tigers. And the top players, I'm not going to say what they did. If you want to know what they did, you'll find out next Friday on the the podcast. But the top players in this game for BYU were Chase Fisher, um, number 1 Chase Fisher, number 15 Jack Tolson, and number 25 um, Jordan Chapman. For UOP, the top players were number 2 T.J. Wilson, who is a hometown hero from Stockton. You can look it up on ESPN on the roster, and you will find out that yes, he is a hometown hero from Stockton. You have Doolin Robinson from Oakland. Number 5, Doolin Robinson from Oakland, and number 24, David Taylor, who's from Germany, were the top players who were really playing really good for UOP last night. And these 3 players were doing the best that they could in this game, but they were not able to get what they needed for UOP to walk away with to get the win and walk away. So that is all in this video for tonight. For today, you will get to see more on this game and many other sports next Friday on the podcast. Now we leave you with I'm Your Life.